Yeah, you know, I have had experience with it personally from my son, and that's my son who rings the doorbell. You know? Yeah. So that was, you know, that was a very big thing for him to earn the right with his school and his behavior to be in the film, you know, because he wants to act, God help him. And it's just a really good story for him, and you know, my wife knows that she read the book because she's a faster reader of novels than I am, and she said you're really going to love this, and you're going to relate to it, you know, because it's really going to be good for Matthew, and it's good to make a story that's a good example for him, you know. That's all the stuff in the movie is all stuff that was in the book, but I changed the book, but I also related to it so much personally because my son taught me, and yes, you do balance the two things. For me, the comedy, like in The Fighter or like in Goodfellas, doesn't come from trying to be funny. It comes from the reality of the situation. It just comes from people being real and authentic and invested, even if what they're invested in is kind of crazy. You know, like the parlay or like the football. I mean, there are a lot of people in Philadelphia who are like Bob De Niro's character, and you could say they're crazy. They wouldn't say. They don't think they're crazy. But what was I going to say about my kid? Oh, and all the things I've learned from him, you know, like are in the movie. You know, all the things, that's what's great about these kinds of characters. If it hadn't been for my son, I don't think I ever would have had an attraction to these kinds of characters in the story, because I've known all my son's friends, all their families, what they go through. And it makes you have to, you know, if you have a challenge, you can't really afford to have a negative attitude, you know, because you'll be dead in 2 seconds. You know, you can't afford it. So that's a good lesson for some of us who don't have such strong challenges and can very easily have the indulgence of a negative attitude. You know, that's like an indulgence, I think. So that's sort of what's behind what you get from these people, these kinds of people.
Right there. What was the difference between you've adapted or you've written screenplays yourself? What was the difference between adapting a screenplay or adapting a book and writing your own screenplay?
The Fighter was a sort of similar situation where there was real footage of real people and there was a pre-existing script, and I just said, okay, this is really cool. Let me do my thing then. So let me rewrite it. And I didn't get a credit on that, but I worked with the writer and I remade the script and put the women in it. And this time, it's nice to have a map. It's nice to have a thing that's there that has, and then to know you can launch off of. I would say, and then if there's enough, if you have the stuff inside yourself to make it your own, I would say it's nice to have the launching off point. The stuff that he put in there was hard stuff to pull off, you know, the dancing and all that other stuff. But I thought it was romantic. I think that's what I liked about it, that it was romantic.
There really isn't to have two actors learn to dance together has to be one of the most intimacy, growing things you can do with two actors, like to sort of shorthand that intimacy. Was that important for them to sort of to do that together?
By the way, how many people here love the scene where Chris shows Bradley Cooper how to dance? Chris Tucker obviously knows how to dance. He knows how to move.
That scene was great because I was doing all the dancing, but it's a great thing about working with a great director. I shouldn't tell all the secret, but David is right there with you, and he's right around you. He's throwing lines at you. So the black up lines he is, I gotta give him. And I don't give a lot of credit to because he usually my lines, but that was his line.
Wait, let me tell you about the dancing. No, that's what I realized recently when I saw the movie in Philadelphia, is that basically that's one of the cool things that is I'm interested in the community and the world. That's enchanting to me as a fighter, as much as the story. The way they talk, the way they dress, all that stuff is really interesting to me. Just like in the Scorsese picture, that's interesting, his old stuff. So, but then in addition to that, you have these two people who are so close to each other, the whole movie, emotionally and physically, but nothing's happening sexually or anything yet, and that's very romantic. You know, so that goes to what you're saying. Yeah, that's really what the film has. Yeah.
Okay, time for more.